Good evening. Below are the daily news topics with their full detailed content translated into English, followed by a 3 to 4 line summary for each topic to make them easy to follow. Topic 1. Rising U.S.-Iran tensions, including accusations of ceasefire violations, drone attacks, and U.S. strikes, sit alongside a separate Israel-Lebanon framework agreement and ceasefire, highlighting volatile regional diplomacy. Details: U.S.-Iran relations have recently deteriorated sharply. President Trump publicly accused Iran of firing one-way attack drones at commercial vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz, saying this violated a 60-day truce agreement. The U.S. reported that on Thursday, one drone struck the upper deck of the Singapore-flagged cargo ship Ever Lovely off the coast of Oman, and U.S. forces shot down 3 other drones. CENTCOM announced airstrikes on Iranian missile and drone storage facilities and coastal radar installations, while the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, said it launched retaliatory strikes on U.S.-linked targets. Both sides warned of the potential for larger clashes ahead. Following the incident, the International Maritime Organization, IMO, suspended evacuation plans for ships and crews trapped in the Strait of Hormuz, and Bahrain condemned Iran's drone attacks as violations of its sovereignty. UK maritime authorities also reported another tanker damaged by an unidentified projectile. Separately, the Trump administration had previously signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, for a path to peace with Iran under the name of President Masoud Pezeshkian, and the recent clashes have raised questions about the applicability and credibility of that agreement. In the same region, U.S. mediation reportedly produced a framework agreement between Israel and Lebanon, announced by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The agreement centers on a ceasefire conditioned on Hezbollah's complete cessation of fire and the withdrawal of Hezbollah operatives from southern areas near the Litani River. However, Hezbollah is not a party to the agreement, and compliance remains uncertain. The simultaneous escalation between the U.S. and Iran and the Israel-Lebanon framework underscores a highly unstable phase in Middle Eastern diplomacy and security. 3-line summary. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran spiked after alleged Iranian drone attacks on commercial vessels, U.S. shoot-downs, and reciprocal strikes on facilities, raising fears of larger conflict. Regional bodies and states reacted by suspending maritime evacuations and condemning attacks, while reports of damage to multiple ships emerged. At the same time, a U.S.-mediated Israel-Lebanon framework and ceasefire was announced, but its enforceability is unclear, especially since Hezbollah is not a signatory. Topic 2. Financial markets show strain. Fed officials expect a rate hike this year. Investors are adapting to Europe's record heat wave, and corporate stocks swing sharply. Oracle's worst week since 2001, on semiconductor tumbling after a deal. The tech sector faces structural pressure from a memory shortage that threatens smaller players and fuels M&A-driven market volatility. Details: monetary policy tension. Neil Kashkari, president of the Minneapolis Fed, revised previous expectations and now anticipates one rate hike this year. The Fed's preferred inflation measures show headline inflation at about 4.1% and core inflation at about 3.4%, both well above the 2% target. Fed officials disagree and remain data-dependent on the rate path. Europe heatwave market and policy impact. A record heatwave in Western Europe raised power demand sharply and reduced generation output. France's nuclear output fell by about 7%, causing disruptions to rail, schools, and cultural facilities. Investors see structural beneficiaries in insurance, risk modeling reinsurance, cooling HVAC, grid modernization, and renewable energy power infrastructure. Examples cited include Aon, Trane, Siemens, Schneider, Vestas, Iberdrola, Shell,